The rain hammered against the plate glass windows of Westbrook Station as Maya Chen pressed her daughter's hand tighter. 6-year-old Lily shivered in her thin jacket, her eyes fixed on the bakery display inside the terminal. "Mama, I'm hungry," Lily whispered. Maya's throat tightened. $3.47. That was everything left after paying for the motel room they'd lost yesterday anyway. The landlord had changed the locks while they were at the food bank. She pushed open the door to Rosewood Bakery, warm air and the scent of fresh bread washing over them. Behind the counter, a young woman with perfectly styled hair looked up, her smile faltering as she took in Maya's worn coat and Lily's scuffed shoes. "Can I help you?" The edge in her voice was barely concealed. Maya's cheeks burned. I was wondering if you had any day-old items. Anything you're throwing out? For my daughter. The woman, her name tag read Brittany, crossed her arms. "We don't give out free food. Company policy." "I'm not asking for free," Maya said quickly, though her voice cracked. "I can pay something. We haven't eaten since yesterday morning." Brittany's lip curled slightly. "Look, if I gave handouts to everyone with a sob story, we'd be out of business. There's a shelter on 5th Street. Try there." Lily tugged her mother's sleeve. "Mama, it's okay. I'm not that hungry." The lie broke Maya's heart. "Please," Maya tried once more. "Just the pastries you'd throw away anyway." "I said no." Brittany's voice rose. "You need to leave if you're not buying anything." From a corner table obscured by a support pillar, someone had been watching. Richard Townsend had stopped for coffee between meetings, a rare moment when his driver wasn't hustling him from one obligation to the next. At 63, the tech mogul had built data stream solutions from a garage startup into a billion-dollar empire. He wore his wealth quietly. Simple navy sweater, no watch despite owning 17, shoes that cost more than most monthly salaries, but looked ordinary. He'd seen the whole exchange. As Maya turned to leave, her daughter's thin shoulders slumped in defeat. Richard stood. He walked to the counter, reaching it just as the door chimed behind the departing pair. "Excuse me," he said to Brittany. "I'd like to buy something." She brightened immediately. "Of course, sir. What can I get you?" "Everything." Brittany blinked. "I'm sorry. Every pastry, sandwich, and baked good you have. All of it." He pulled out his credit card. "And I need it boxed up in the next 2 minutes." "Sir, that would be over $300 of, then ring it up." 3 minutes later, Richard pushed through the station's main doors into the rain, carrying 2 large boxes. He spotted Maya and Lily huddled under an overhang, trying to stay dry. "Excuse me," he called. Maya turned, wariness in her eyes. Another person to tell them to move along, probably. Richard held out the boxes. "I bought way too much. My eyes were bigger than my stomach, and I can't possibly eat all this before my flight. Would you be willing to help me out?" Maya stared at the boxes, then at his face, searching for mockery. She found only kindness. We can't. You'd be doing me a favor, really," Richard said gently. "Otherwise it's just waste." Lily's eyes widened as Richard opened a box, revealing croissants, muffins, sandwiches, cookies. A feast. Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much. There's more than you can eat today," Richard said. "Take it. Please." As Lily reached for a chocolate muffin with reverent hands, Richard made a decision. "Can I ask, where are you staying?" The question made Maya tense again. "We're between places right now." "I thought so." Richard pulled out his phone. "Give me just a moment." He stepped away, making 2 calls in rapid succession. When he returned, he handed Maya a business card with an address written on the back. "That's a family shelter run by a friend of mine. They have a 2-bedroom unit available today. I've covered 3 months' rent, and there's a childcare program, so you can look for work if you need to. No strings, no judgment." Maya's hand shook as she took the card. "Why would you do this? You don't even know us." Richard smiled, but there was old pain behind his eyes. "When I was 7, my mother and I lived in her car for 4 months. A stranger bought us dinner one night at a diner, just a simple meal, but she also gave my mother information about a job opening. That job changed everything. It let my mother save enough to get us into an apartment, which meant I could stay in school, which meant I could get scholarships." He trailed off. "I became successful, but I never forgot what kindness looks like when you're drowning. I don't know what to say. Say you'll let me call you a cab to that address. It's too cold to walk in this rain." 40 minutes later, as the taxi drove away from the shelter where Maya and Lily were being welcomed by warm staff and shown to their new temporary home, Richard returned to the bakery. Brittany looked up as he entered. "Back already, sir?" "Can I actually wanted to speak with you," Richard said. His voice was calm but firm. "About what happened earlier." She looked confused. Sir. That woman and her child. The way you treated them. Brittany's face flushed. I was just following policy. No, Richard interrupted. You were following your assumptions. You saw someone in need and decided they were beneath your consideration. You had the power to show kindness, and you chose cruelty instead. It's not my fault if people don't have money. That mother wasn't asking for your pity. She was asking for dignity. For the scraps you throw away every night. And you couldn't even give her that. He paused. I'm Richard Townsend. I own DataStream Solutions. Maybe you've heard of it. Brittany's eyes widened. She had. Your parent company, Westbrook Holdings, has contracts with my firm worth about $40 million annually. I'll be speaking with your CEO tomorrow. Not to get you fired, that's not my decision to make. But to suggest that every Westbrook employee undergo training on human dignity and compassion. Because businesses that forget humanity eventually forget why they exist at all. He turned to leave, then looked back. That little girl was so hungry she was shaking. You had the power to help and chose not to. I hope you think about that the next time someone asks you for kindness when it costs you nothing to give it. The door chimed as he left. Alone behind the counter, Brittany stared at the space where he'd stood, her face burning with shame. 3 months later, Richard received an email. Dear Mr. Townsend, I wanted you to know that I start my new job as a medical receptionist next week. Lily is thriving in school and in the after-school program at the shelter. We're saving money to get our own apartment by spring, but more than that, I wanted to thank you for seeing us as human beings when someone else saw us as invisible. You gave us more than food and shelter. You gave us hope. I'm paying forward your kindness. I volunteer at a food pantry every Saturday now, and I make sure every person who walks through that door knows they matter. Your kindness created ripples. Thank you for throwing the stone. With gratitude, Maya and Lily Chen. Richard read it twice, then printed it and placed it on his office wall beside his company's mission statement. Kindness costs nothing, but its value is immeasurable.